Right then, this is a walk-around video for a absolutely that's a beautiful car. This is a Honda Accord 2.4 EX automatic. This is a facelift 2012 model, finished in cobalt blue with the ivory leather interior. Car's covered just 54,000 miles from new, and is in really lovely condition, certainly for a car that's now 11 years old. And this is the, as I say, this is the holy grail of Hondas in my opinion. Probably the best all-round car they ever made, apart from kind of their more sporty Exotica, if you like. But front of the car, lovely and clean, new styling with the new headlamp design and grille. It's also got the ACC auto cruise control, so you've got the radar built into the Honda badge. Front of the car, very clean. Lights and lenses are clear and intact. No cracks or condensation in them. Bonnet, hardly, well, I just can't see a stone chip of any note on there at all. Near side of the car, just beautifully smooth in the panels. No obvious indentations on there. I just think for a car that's now, I mean, they age brilliantly. Hondas always have done. They always do. They're one of the companies that sort of never blows my socks off when they launch them. Then after a few years, you kind of appreciate the design, and it's, you know, it's ageless in some ways. Around the back of the car, again, later models with a chrome strip on the boot lid. Around to the off side of the vehicle. Driver's side, again, it's just mirror smooth in the panels down there. And there always will be, and I make no apologies, there'll be the odd light mark which either I don't see or the camera doesn't pick up on. But in all honesty, for a car of that age to be in that condition is quite astonishing, really. Let's come into the boot area now. Absolutely cavernous boots on the car, and it's been kept very well. Let's come into the back of the car now. You see this absolutely stunning interior, which is in a condition to match. It is extraordinarily clean. Coming in on the passenger side, again, all really clean and tidy. Electric passenger seat, of course. And again, its condition sort of belies the age of the car. It's absolutely fantastic. Let's come to the front on the driver's side. Again, door card lovely and clean. Likewise, footwell area is really clean and tidy. The driver's seat itself is again in exceptional condition. So we're inside the car now. Engine's running through the section as always, so the dash can be seen illuminated. And what a wonderful interior this is. See, sat nav working exactly as it should. Pop the car into reverse, get that lovely clear parking camera on there. Again, genuinely love this car, really has. And then it comes across to the dash binnacle, 54,784 miles, and there are no warning lights on the dashboard at all. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and one I've very much looked forward to doing. It's for what I believe is probably, at this side of an NSX or an S2000, the best car Honda have ever made. It's the Honda Accord 2.4 EX automatic. This particular car is registered OV12GZG, and with a mileage of just 54,785 recorded. The reason we do these videos, by the way, is very simple. It's to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, they actually get to see the car we're advertising actually in operation. Unfortunately, like lots of people, we've been to see cars which have looked absolutely fine in photographs or description, only to get there and find out it's got an obvious fault that shows up when you drive the car, so hence that's why we do it. Also done on these very quiet country roads in this lovely part of Gloucestershire. This actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on, so the hope is it'll then be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So coming to the car, the reason I used to work for Honda, I've owned numerous of these. I just think, always have done, as an overall package, and I'm talking about practicality, reliability, longevity, the way they drive more than anything else, this is just the complete package. It does everything absolutely brilliantly. Starts with the engine, and by the way, I apologise before start this video. I'm obsessed by these cars. I love them. I will rein it in. What you'll hear about the functions and what I'm reporting back will be factual. In amongst it will be me falling in love with the car all over again. Starting with the engine, the heart of the beast. 2.4 VTEC starts instantly, settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. That's really only half the story, because I believe this is probably the best 4-cylinder mainstream engine ever manufactured, for loads of reasons. Apologise for the glary sun. Hopefully as we turn it might not be quite so bad. The engine, it's a 4-cylinder engine, yet in terms of vibration and smoothness, it feels like a 6-cylinder. It's that smooth. You just don't feel vibrations coming back into the car, generally speaking. But most people think of Honda VTEC engines as it's all at the top end. It pulls like mad when it starts to rev high, and it does all of that, but it's got real guts to it as well. You touch the throttle and the thing's keen, it's up and going straight away. It does so with a lovely, sweet soundtrack. You get that kind of induction noise you get from all Honda cars, but it's muted. It's the right side of too quiet and it'll just be sterile, too noisy, it'd be annoying, and they've got it absolutely spot on. So you can put your foot down now. Oh, it's just such a lovely engine. It's so clean the way it pulls, absolutely superb. And of course, you know, their reputation is that they do enormous mileages, these engines, with just good regular maintenance, and this is perfect. I just love that engine. Feeds into the automatic gearbox, which matches it perfectly. Gear changes are crisp, smooth. Again, the gearbox, like the engine, has a reputation for being incredibly tough and durable as well. In terms of economy, this is a bizarre thing. I've owned both the 2 litres and the 2.4s. The reason I prefer the 2.4, because the 2.2 litre isn't a bad engine, quite the opposite, it's brilliant. The reason I prefer these is day to day, there's less effort driving the car in terms of the engine's not having to go up and use the gearbox as much. It's more relaxed in that way. You've got more instant performance. And I actually found in my driving, so that's not for everybody, but in my driving, I found the economy slightly better in these than the 2 litre. Maybe I was leaning on the 2 litre a bit harder than others would, I don't know, but it's just from personal experience, because it is actually a very efficient engine in that way, in that regard, sorry. Come to the steering and the chassis, which are the unsung hero in this car. Steering, by the way, tracks dead straight. There's no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit. But that's only half the story, because when this car was launched, the motoring press did the usual thing of lauding all of the German manufacturers, as it always do, and sometimes rightly, so I'm not saying it's not for the right reasons, and completely missing the point of this car and what it was capable of. It's one of the very few cars I could jump in and drive and go cross country. I wouldn't, but I could drive like a lunatic, come out the other side reasonably unflustered, because that's how the chassis responds. It's amazing, because it gives you a very supple, compliant ride. It's that kind of sort of slightly firm, nuggety feel to it. But the ability to change direction, the ability to go into corners of varying types, all types, different radius, off camber, on camber, bumpy, smooth, different types of tarmac, it just devours corners. It's an astonishing car. I did have to drive many years ago, unfortunately for an emergency, down to Salisbury, and some pretty challenging roads, and I have to say, incredible car to do that trip in. Really, really amazing. By the way, there's absolutely no clonks, rattles or knocks, nothing coming from underneath the car at all. It's all absolutely spot on. Just going to give the brakes a bit of a shove, which is directly behind me. That's a really good brake pedal on the car, nice and powerful, no pulsing, no vibrations. Finally, coming inside the car, you're blessed by an ageless design. It's packed with equipment, but very simple to jump in and drive. After a couple of days in the car, you pretty much mastered it. What I love about this car, it's rare to have this kind of silver ivory leather interior. It just breaks up. The black interiors are nice. I've liked them, but this, to me, is just on sort of dark winter's days and on those blazing hot summer's days, it's the best combination of all. And if you just keep a wet wipe and a cloth inside the car, you can keep them in lovely condition. Just wipe it with a wet wipe, dry it straight away. You keep it as unbelievably clean as this one is inside. It is, of course, being a beautifully built car. There's no squeaks, no rattles. When you're sat inside the car, you've got this lovely recessed nav screen, quite big for its vintage actually, all working perfectly. Then down below that you've got your radio, which is simple and easy to use, climate control system, which gives you dual temperatures side to side, and that pumps out lovely cold air because we tried it in a warm workshop earlier. Heated seats, again, working exactly as they should. Every single switch, like every single Honda, everything you press, touch, has got that beautifully tactile feel. The quality of actuation is just beautifully engineered in them. The dash in front is your classic Honda of its era. Symmetrical dials, simple, legible. I actually think Honda, like lots of manufacturers, has gone backwards massively in these displays, because visually I can just look at that, immediately take the information in and look away, whereas lots of modern cars you tend to sort of squint and think, oh, it's just too much going on, but that is beautifully done. And then you've got this lovely leather bound steering wheel, which looks and feels like new inside. As I said, I do love these cars, but I think I love them for a reason, because its competitors at the time would have been things like, there was a sporty S40, I'm sure, Volvo, the Mondeo ST24, Vectra GSI, I think, at the time. Then you'd have BMW 3 Series, Audi A4. There's only two I think would be as good and possibly, maybe better, I don't know, in terms of handling, and that would be the BMW 3 Series, rear-wheel drive obviously helps. The Mondeo ST24, beautiful chassis in those cars, lovely feel to them, but they tend to fall apart. The suspension components get a bit creaky with age. They don't age anything. The engineering is nothing like these. And the 3 Series, yeah, they're fine, but Honda could make this handle just as well, but the compromise is you end up with a much harder, fidgety ride. So for 90% of your driving, which is actually where you're not hurtling down the lane, this is a much nicer car to be in. And on top of which, the engineering and, as I said, the reliability is again in a different league. The Audi is just dull by comparison in terms of the way it drives. Mercedes is lovely and smooth, but got no sporty pretensions at all. If someone wants to have a car to sit in, enjoy, cruise, but also have the option to put your foot down and enjoy the vehicle, then you've got it's a very rare combination, and so well engineered that we're looking 10-11 years down the line, and this, in my opinion, you could jump in virtually any modern car and very few drive it as well as this, feel as engaging as this. It's got a bit of soul to this car. I love it, absolutely love it, and it drives absolutely faultlessly.